This is a video I didn't want to make. I have removed my RCV IWE eliminators. I have burned up 2 upper pinion bearings in the front diff since going to the IWE eliminator. I really like them though. These aren't the cause of the problem. These doing their job correctly is what allowed the problem to present itself. I don't blame any one component, but I blame everything collectively, if that makes any sense. I blame myself. So let's start from the beginning. Why did I even use these in the first place? The F-150 uses a vacuum actuated wheel end. Turkeys are out this morning. To engage and disengage the front wheel hub to let that front wheel free spin when you're in 2-wheel drive. The IWE system pulls vacuum. This is a reservoir that holds at a lower pressure than ambient. That runs through here into a solenoid. That line heads down and goes to each wheel end. Something somewhere in that system was intermittently failing, and I tried bypassing it, and at idle it was fine when the engine's making vacuum. Apply throttle when you'd go to drive somewhere, you'd have less vacuum, and then with this you'd actually get into boost. With the IWE eliminators, you're now linking the wheel to the CV axle, and that spins front differential, and that spins the drive shaft up to the transfer case, but the transfer case is not engaged in 2-wheel drive.
I got the eliminators because I was tired of the IWEs trying to engage when I was driving on the highway, which would create a terrible grinding sound. As a bonus, they were also supposed to be stronger and less likely to break when taking them off-road. So I installed them and had a couple months without any issues. And then I got a new and way worse grinding sound developing. Turns out the upper pinion bearing was bad. So I considered it a fluke, paid to have it replaced, and now the upper pinion bearing has failed again.
So after the second pinion bearing was put back in the truck, I put my IWEs back in and had to figure out the vacuum, which I have sorted that out, but I am very disappointed because I want to keep my IWE eliminators. I like the simplicity. I like the added benefit of knowing that there's more engagement surface and more metal and they're stronger. But if I can't figure out what is eating up pinion bearings, I cannot go back. Okay, so what happened? I don't have a solid answer, but here's the working theory. I've got the ARB locker in the front axle, which is physically much larger than the open carrier. So that would reduce oil volume if you can only fill it up but so high. So that could be something. And that also may affect the oil flow throughout the system. This truck's got a 4.5-inch super lift on it. And while it wasn't to a degree that I could tell, it also may have tipped the front diff in a different angle that makes it harder to get oil up to the upper pinion bearing, but I'm not sure on that one. What I do know is I got desperate and had to figure something out. The truck was eating itself alive. Well, it was eating pinion bearings at least. It's my daily driver, so it definitely gets some highway miles. So in my desperation, I sent emails out to everybody. Well, I don't think any one of those companies is responsible for this. That falls on me. The only one that got back to me was ARB, and they called me on the phone to talk over possible solutions for getting this up and running. Had some suggestions about larger diff cover, possibly make a tray in the front end to hold some oil up there near the upper pinion bearing, and then to run a catch can off the breather tube and overfill the diff and allow it to find its own level and not just take it up to the fill port, which are all good suggestions, by the way. I'm just not sure if I want to play guess and check at the tune of a few $100 if I gotta pull the front axle out and take it in to get a new upper bearing put in, pinion bearing put in. So the lessons learned by going to the IWE eliminators. Number 1, you might want to throw some paint on them before you install them. This is 3 to 4 months. What's 5 to 7 years look like? I don't know. Secondly, if you're going to run these and an ARB carrier or a lift, check your diff fluid. Keep checking it because you may have capacity or cooling issues that you're not going to see driving around town day to day, but when you're doing highway miles, when you're driving it every day, you may start to see problems. And by the time you're seeing problems, you're going to be replacing parts. I know that these are used in Raptors very often, non-Raptors very often, but I don't know that I've read anywhere of somebody using this with an ARB carrier. So these will now be living as spares. In the case that I am off-road and break an IWE, I can put in an IWE eliminator to at least get that wheel turning again with four-wheel drive. They're a bit expensive for just a spare part, so if I can figure out a solution to use them again, I will go back to them. So a $170-ish solution to a vacuum leak problem has now cost me almost $1,000. And as it stands today, now that I've fixed the vacuum problem, I am exactly where I was 6 months ago. And that hurts so bad to say. So if you'd like to learn from my mistakes, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That would really help out the channel. And I will continue to let you know what's going on with the F-150. Caitlin has just ordered tires for the GX, so we'll get those mounted and hopefully start the DIY rear door mounted spare on the GX. All right, that's enough rambling from me. I'm happy I got my truck back and it more or less works. So we got other projects to do on the house. Thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully I'll have better news next time, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.